And we are back here live on a Radio Road. Day number 4. We're here at the Moscone Convention Center in San Francisco, California. And with me, I have one of the best reporters at the NFL Network who happens to, reside in Overland Park, Kansas, and is a good friend of mine when he's not harassing me about thinking that I'm a homer when he knows I'm not. But I'm joined by the NFL Network's Jeff Chadiha. Jeff, thank you so much for always joining me on Radio Row when you get a chance.
Oh yeah, man, always happy. Where's your ring at?
It's in the room.
Your championship ring.
It's in the room.
Okay.
It's in the room.
Right.
I wore it yesterday. It should have been around.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just how it is. So I'm sorry, I got a little sidetracked. What is your role going to be this week with the NFL Network in covering the Super Bowl?
Well, I wrote a story on the way in here that's running right now about the changing power structure in the in the AFC, excuse me. And so that's running right now. And then game day, I'm just covering the game, and so I actually only have a couple things I got to worry about. So it's nice to be able to roll in, relax a little bit, get the work done before you get on the plane. So I'm looking forward to the game. No, it should be a good game.
So does that mean I get like a steak on you per the NFL, per diem and stuff?
I don't know about that. I got to reserve my steaks. I got to be selective who gets those.
Yeah, because we didn't have no bet this year. Thanks, man.
I didn't see you much. Yeah.
You wasn't at the games much.
Okay. I didn't hear from you much. But
that part is true. That part is true. So give me your thoughts on how you think things or why things turned out the way they did in Kansas City this past season.
Well, I think it's just the natural progression of things. People forget that when Patrick Mahomes showed up, this team was already a championship caliber team. They just needed to get over the hump. And so he got them over the hump. But the problem is when you have that much talent at that point in a young quarterback's career, while other teams are trying to get up the hill, you're going to stay here for a little bit, but then you're going to start going down. Because you're going to start losing talent. Star players are going to start getting older. So to me, big thing was, one, stars didn't play like stars. So Mahomes was good, he wasn't great. Travis was good, he wasn't great. Chris Jones was good, he wasn't great.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have a ton of talent behind those guys. I've argued for years that their roster is not as talented as people may think, that they've been able to coach it up, and Patrick's been able to make some plays, and then once he was gone, you saw what they were working with.
Do you think a lot of it was masked by Patrick and his talent?
Some of that. I think some of it was masked by other teams just not being very competent, not being able to take advantage of that. I mean, it's not, to me, you look around the coaching in the AFC now, the coaching in the AFC has gone up dramatically over the
especially in the AFC West. I mean, and to be fair, because I was talking with, I think it was Sean Merriman yesterday, we talked about how the AFC, and the big joke was, I think it was 2 years ago, how the AFC West spent $250 million to try to, be Kansas City, obviously with the free agency and bringing the coaches and stuff in. And, I argued that to that point, yes, those teams and the coaching staff got better, and they were obviously putting themselves in position to take down the Chiefs. I would also say that the Chiefs themselves did themselves no favor when it came to execution, because when you look at all the one-score games that they somehow lucked out last year in winning, they couldn't do that this time around. And I think if you go back, for me, I go back to the opening game against the Chargers in Brazil. Travis Kelce taking out Xavier Worthy was one thing. Now, to me, if you had your whole game plan built on Worthy, that was your first mistake. But the execution on Harrison Butker missing the extra point, that put them behind the 8 ball. So when they scored, now they got to force themselves to go for 2 versus just trying to, just stay with it 7-7. When that didn't happen, now, and you couldn't get the last possession, try to come down and win the game. Now you 0-1. Next game, you had a 50-50 shot against the Eagles. So that is what it is. Third game, you had the Giants, and then the fourth game, you had the Ravens. But to me, when they got back, Rashee Rice, everything seemed to click for that Washington Commanders and the Las Vegas Raiders game, where they actually ran the football. And granted, you can say that the talent is what it was, and I get that. But they at least ran the football 150 yards in those games. And then somehow left their quote-unquote scoring superpowers in the locker room when they went to go face Buffalo. And to only win one other game after that against the Indianapolis Colts, it was amazing how much of a drop in production and what seemed to be talent, after the Washington Commanders game was a scary sight to see.
Oh, I would say, and I know people point to that period as being an example of what they could have been offensively.
Well, that's what they said.
Yeah. I would tell you this. The Raiders and the Commanders had 2 of the worst defenses in the league.
No doubt about that.
They beat the Lions and the Ravens when those teams were decimated. They had tons of injuries as well on defense. The Lions secondary was beat up. The Ravens ended up that game with like seven starters out. Either came in without them or got hurt during the game.
Well, that's football right there.
But I'm just saying, like, that to me is, you look around the league and look at other offenses and what they do, and the difference between really high-performing offenses and what the Chiefs are doing right now is those other teams are able to have a significant run game presence, and they're able to rely on other things besides the quarterback doing amazing things. And that speaks to what Andy Reid and the staff have to think about this year. You can't go out there with a whole bunch of fast guys and a great quarterback and think you're going to overwhelm people anymore. People aren't going to let you do that.
I agree with you there. Where do you feel like the Chiefs need to make the most roster upgrades this offseason?
Defensive line, running back, secondary is going to take a hit.
Yeah.
I think those are the three main areas to start. I mean, they're okay at offensive line. But I would even say receiver, they're going to have to find not just a depth of talent, but they're going to have to figure out what are we doing for Rasheed Rice and Xavier Worthy?
To me, you really got to find a real number one receiver. I'm not.
Well, that was Kelsey. That's been Kelsey forever.
I mean, folks say Rasheed Rice, and to me, Worthy is still too light. He's just too light. I mean, you 6 foot. Yeah, you run a 4.2, but people can push you out of bounds. And you have trouble tracking the football. Rasheed Rice can't stay on the field for one reason or another, and then and then the other receivers are just a little bit off. And to me, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go to the grave with this, but they have got to find a left tackle, a veteran left tackle. I get what Josh Simmons could be, but if you try to protect the tithes and offerings. Granted, I don't know what you got to do, but you got to find a Trent Williams type left tackle. I don't know.
You know what that costs?
Hold on, hey, check it out. You know what the cost is going to be if you don't have Mahomes on the field? Yeah. I mean, that's 61 and a half dozen, and then I get it, but I mean, but look at it. Patrick has been, the last 3 years he's been running for his life.
Yeah. That's in part because of the way the offense is set up, but it's also, I was just talking to a friend of mine, Doug Whaley, for that story I mentioned, who is the VP of the United Football League now, who was with the Steelers and their front office, GM for the Bills. He made a great point. He said, look, once you start paying the quarterback big money, you can only pay 3 more guys big deals.
And that's literally what they do.
But that's the thing. Now, when you want to pay Nick Bolton, when you want to pay George Karlaftis, when you want to pay Creed Humphrey, when you want to pay Trey Smith, ain't enough money to go around to have that veteran left tackle that you want, right? Ain't enough money to go around to have that edge rusher they probably need.
Your thoughts on Eric Bieniemy being back in Kansas City?
I like Bieniemy coming back. I've known him for 30 years. I think he's a great coach. He'll bring a lot to the table. He'll bring the same things he brought before, the leadership and the toughness, the accountability. Now, I will say that because he's not known for being a great X's and O's guy, you do wonder, is this going to be more of the same offense with just a lot more accountability involved in it? But I think that Andy Reid does have to look at himself and look at the way the league is trending. As a friend of mine said, another front office guy this week, he said, look, you look at college football where Andy's gotten a lot of his newer concepts from because he took a lot of those college concepts and put them in for Patrick when he got to the Chiefs. That game is totally different now from what the NFL is. It's all about space, and because the quarterback runs, you can really affect the defense in different ways. The NFL right now is like, as he said, it's like old men playing pickup basketball. Yeah. So a whole bunch of guys bumping into each other, not much room to move. They're not letting you do a lot of big play stuff. So you got to be able to get in there, be physical, run the ball, play good defense, play action people, and that's not what the Chiefs do. And they got to start thinking about how to do that.
What's the biggest offseason move you think the Chiefs could or should make?
Well, Trent McDuffie's the one that you look at and say, what's going to happen with him? Because I don't see where they have the money to invest in him. I don't know if it makes sense to invest in him. Do
you think that they invested in the wrong first-round draft pick last year? I'm sorry, it's not yet.
I think Karlaftis was an easier deal to do because it was less money, and he probably was more willing to sign it. All these things can be second guessed after the fact, but if you're paying put this way, you may not like the deal that Karlaftis got, but are you going to be crazy about Trent McDuffie making $30 million a year? I don't know if that makes a lot of sense either. And if there's somebody who's willing to pay that for him, or if somebody's willing to give you some assets to take him off your hands, you got to think about that. I was just talking at the Raiders station about Max Crosby wanting to be traded, and I was like, if you're the Raiders, hell yeah, we trading Max Crosby because you can get something for him, of value.
Yeah. Chiefs probably should have got off Chris Jones after they signed him to the deal.
Well, again, like you start wanting to do those things, make those moves because you want to, capitalize in the short term, but when the long term comes, you feel the impact of it.
Your thoughts on Sunday's game? You gonna pick a winner? You already picked
I like
winner?
Seattle. I mean, I'm sure most people in this room like Seattle. They were the best team at the end of the year, and no disrespect to the Patriots, but
they just haven't shown me anything offensively this postseason. Like, you just haven't seen anything.
Well, when your quarterback has 15 sacks on his resume right now in the postseason, and he's turned the ball over 5 times, like they've been able to get away with that stuff. But the Seahawks defense is just as good as the Texans, as the Broncos, as the other teams they face, the Chargers, and they got a pretty serious pass rush. So
biggest disappointment this playoff season or this playoffs biggest surprise of who's not maybe here in the Super Bowl.
The biggest surprise of who's not here, based on teams that made the playoffs.
Yeah.
The Rams. I like the Rams a lot. I thought they were going to get it done, and
I was going to go with Houston because for me, C.J. Stroud playing 2 horrible games back to back, I didn't see that coming. Because with that defense, man, I felt like if they get past that, if they would have got past
New
England, they were, that defense was going to go into Denver and win. I mean, backup quarterback, but yeah, CJ,
that's how it was. But there was more parity on the AFC side.
True
I
that.
felt like Seattle and the Rams were the 2 best teams. And I thought the Rams, they had
I was hoping the Rams were going to come in. My cousin's a chaplain for him, so I was hoping the Rams were going to get here.
Okay, look at you, name dropping.
I mean, know, Kevin Nicholson, shout out to my cousin. I got, gotta shout him out. So where can people follow you on Twitter, social media, and read your work?
Oh, just look for JEFFRI, look for CHADIHA, and they'll get you there. Some variation of that.
gotta hand up the Case Barbecue sauce. Jeff,
right,
as always, man, I know you got other interviews. I always appreciate your time.
Okay,
appreciate the friendship, bro. And we'll grab one
soon. Take care of yourself.
Yes, sir.
Get that steak somewhere else.
Actually, Sean Mary refuses to give me any longer. So we'll share our bet next year.
Okay.
All right. We'll be back after this time out. That's your man.